Hello, welcome to Spotlight TV, and I'm your host, Dr. Larry Carnes. We're excited to have a very special guest with us, Miss Mary Schaller, and she's going to be talking about this exciting book, Ashes of Despair. Welcome, Mary. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
You know, we're so thrilled to have you with us. Tell our viewing audience a little bit about yourself and then share this awesome book with them that you have.
Okay. I'm a native Californian, which is rare. I'm a third generation Californian even. My family were, they came to this state as pioneers. And they came by ship and they came by wagon on both sides of my family.
That's okay. Awesome. Talk to us about this book.
And I lived around San Francisco all of my life. It's a city that is kind of a haven for LGBT people, and with Ashes of Despair, I talk about the AIDS crisis in San Francisco and how it affects a lot of people.
Okay, that's Ashes of Despair. Okay, so talk to our viewing audience about that, and what is it that drove you to want to write about this?
Well, in Deadly Distrust, it's just before the AIDS crisis, and in that murder mystery, it's kind of an introduction to this book. And I like mysteries because I saw a lot of Hitchcock, and I liked the way he ended and his movies, and so I tried to end my books with a surprise ending.
Okay, so Hitchcock was someone whom you admired. You liked the way he ended his movies, and I noticed that you have several books that you've written. So share with our viewing audience some of the insights into the book. I know you don't want to give it all away, but
No.
share with us some insights about that.
Okay. Well, in Deadly Distrust, the heroine is a nursing student, but in Ashes of Despair, she is a professional nurse, and she's seeing AIDS patients come into the hospital, and she's very curious about them because their doctors are dying, and all sorts of people that support the hospital are dying, and no one knows why. And at this point, she what was happening in San Francisco was that gay men were coming out of the closet, and they had some protection in San Francisco. No one bothers them. I mean, it's a very cosmopolitan city. We have a lot of people from all over the world, and just one more new type of people doesn't stand out that much.
Okay.
And so these people came from all over the United States to San Francisco because they had freedoms there that they didn't have in other places. They were accepted here, and they weren't accepted other places. And on top of that, we had teenage boys running away from home because they weren't accepted by their families and they weren't accepted by the schools. and they came to San Francisco, but they couldn't get jobs because they were too young, and they prostituted themselves in the Tenderloin area of San Francisco, which is on 6th Street, which is a part of the city where a lot of drugs and all sorts of things go on.
Okay.
So this wasn't a new thing, but there were a lot of them, and they were covering the street, and they had no place to sleep, so they were sleeping in doorways and everywhere else. Anyway, that's the background of San Francisco, and on that I put my story. And it starts out with this fellow running through San Francisco being chased by men, and he dives into the BART station for protection, and gets he sees people there, but they're all ordinary people that don't pay attention to him, and he gets on the train and goes home. And the people up above, that there's stairs down to BART. I don't know if you know San Francisco that well, but anyway, there's a BART train, and that's the underground railroad that goes between cities.
Okay.
And he takes that home. What happens with Elly? Elly's in there's an attorney that comes and tells her that she's inherited a large estate, and the attorney that gives her this news is part of the board of this large company, and he sees her as a threat to him because he and his friend have been embezzling money out of this estate for a couple of years while they were looking for an heir that was suitable for the estate. And now they have this person, and they're afraid of her, even though she doesn't have a clue how to run a business. And so he hires a professional killer to keep her in line.
Oh my.
And I researched professional killers. I was surprised they were out there. And I fashioned one, and I had a lot of fun with him.
Well, you're the writer, you're the creator.
And Elly's boyfriend is this police detective, and he's trying to protect her. And anyway, I don't want to tell too much about the story, but it's a page turner. It has a lot of
A lot of suspense.
mystery to it, and it has a lot of page turning, things that happen, and it has a tight plot, but it's a longer book than my Deadly Distrust because I had so many characters, I had to keep them all in line. And
Wow. So now let me ask you, when you're coming up with the different characters for your books, and this book, I know you go from one place to another place, was a student nurse, now becomes a nurse. We have the AIDS epidemic. We have people just flooding in there in San Francisco, all sorts of things going on. So it's progressive in your ability to create. Where does that creativity come from? And that vision that you have for writing these books?
Well, I used her son. She has two sons. and they were in the other book, but they were much younger. But now one is in college, and the younger one is about 15, and he's gay. And he runs away from home, and he's one of those on 6th Street. And she and her, the problem is that she's kidnapped by the professional killer, and he keeps her away. So she doesn't know what's happening to her son. And anyway, it's tying these all together was fun.
Yes, that's fascinating. The creativity that you have, and you're making these connections, and it continues to progress. The drama that's in there. I mean, I haven't read the book, and you already have me hooked. So that's insightful, impacting. But I see that you also bring some of the realities of living in San Francisco in with the book, and you're taking your readers on a journey.
Right. And I bring in the boy, the 15-year-old boy, illness. I describe what happens to him.
Yeah.
In length, not in length, but certainly as it's seen through his mother's eyes, and it was a interesting book from many standpoints. It has so many characters. I decided to make. I had a lot of fun writing about the professional killer. I also bring in because he's trying to escape.
Yes.
He goes to a Midwest state and encounters the neo-Nazis. And the neo-Nazis were kind of the I think most people know who neo-Nazis are. But anyway, they're white supremacist people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what they were doing was protecting criminals. And so they have a farm, and anyway, he does. They are very suspicious of him, and they don't treat him nicely, as you can imagine. And he eventually gets away from them, but it's difficult.
When you mentioned that, I'm thinking about, okay, who he is, and going to a place with the neo-Nazis. That can be interesting. We have 2 minutes left. You, with one of those minutes, tell people how they can get in touch with you and how they can get your books. You have about 60 seconds to do that.
Well, they can find my books in bookstores, and if they don't have them in the bookstores, they can ask them to order them. And they can also get them on Amazon. But contacted me, I I kind of like my private life.
Okay, and that's fine. But they can get the books in the bookstores, and they can get the books there on Amazon.
Yes.
That's awesome. I was looking on Amazon, several books that you've written. I said, oh my goodness, look at all these books. So several books there on Amazon. You've been a wonderful guest. We thank you for carrying us on this journey, having us navigate this journey. Thank you so much, Mary. And we look forward to just having an opportunity to explore these powerful books. This has been Spotlight TV. You've been here with our awesome guest. She's taken us on a journey. We truly trust that you've enjoyed it. And remember to join us again for the next broadcast of Spotlight TV. I'm your host, Dr. Larry Carnes, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.